Okay, hey, what's going on, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Fortnite Mythbusters. In today's episode, we go over so many awesome myths that you guys suggested on the last episode. So, just like always, if you do have a myth you would like me to test in the next or future episodes of the Fortnite Mythbusters, make sure to go down in the comments and drop a comment of that myth for a pretty good chance to be featured. Also, if you are new around here and you do enjoy my content, feel free to consider subscribing and turning on those post notifications. Only 19% of my viewers are actually subscribed to the channel, so if you guys want to help me on the road to 1 million subscribers, that would be greatly appreciated. And last but not least, if you could smash 15,000 likes on today's episode, that would be insane. But without further ado, let's get right on in to today's video. Kicking things off, jumping straight into the first myth. The first myth is, do you regain health when you shoot a decoy with Deadpool's pistols? Now, if you don't know already, when you have Deadpool's pistols equipped and you shoot an enemy player or even henchman, you will slowly regain a little bit of health. It could be shield, it could be just regular health, but any damage that you do to an opponent, it'll, heal your player, which is honestly, a little bit overpowered. Anyways, the main question is, do you actually regain health when you shoot a decoy? Because decoys act as if they're a regular player. So when I tried this out in game, I had my second account throw down a few decoys, which I then shot and fully killed them with, Deadpool's dual wield pistols. And surprisingly, you actually do gain HP. This is, something that I've never really seen before in game because, not a lot of people throw down decoys and not a lot of people actually get access to these dual wield pistols. But overall, something crazy, and I definitely did not know about that. Going straight into the next myth. The next myth is, what happens when you break a disguise booth while someone is inside? Now, there is actually one location on the map where you could actually destroy a disguise booth, and that is at the yacht. When I first tried this myth out, I went into the disguise booth as a henchman disguise, while wearing the disguise, and the floor broke, and surprisingly, the disguise fully got removed off of my player immediately. My player kind of floated for a second, which was a little bit strange. I then tested this myth one more time, but this time, my teammate who's on my other account, he jumped into the disguise booth with no disguise on. I then broke the floor, and it fully canceled out the animation of being in the booth, even walking out, and he turned into a henchman immediately. So if you ever do land at the yacht, in a duos or even a squads game, you could definitely utilize, this certain technique. You can make it so other players can't put on a disguise, and you could get your teammates disguised up super quick and way before anyone else. Going into the next myth. The next myth is, if an AI has a vault key card, will it know how to open up the vault? Before I tested out this myth, I wanted to make sure that the decoy grenades or the AIs, they could actually interact with stuff in the environment. And what I mean about the environment is like doors on houses and the vault, because you have to press E to open up the vault, all of that good stuff. When I threw down the decoy grenade, I was pretty surprised to see the decoy actually open up the door and continued running away. So if the decoy knows how to open up the door, maybe he will know how to use the vault. When I tried this myth out, I had the vault key card. I killed all of the henchmen in the area, so my decoys wouldn't want to go try and fight the henchmen or kill them. And I threw the decoys right next to the keypad or whatever to open up the vault, but they did not even seem to care. They just went to the nearest wall, started pickaxing it, and then just ran away from me. Thinking about it though, it would be pretty cool to see the decoys opening up the vaults. Going into the next myth, and surprisingly a highly requested myth. This myth is, can you see someone with a thermal scoped AR while they are using a shadow bomb? I was surprised to see this myth actually got like 800 likes on a previous episode, even though the thermal scoped AR and shadow bombs are no longer in the public game. Anyways, when I tried this myth out, as you can see, the thermal scoped AR, it still shows the heat from a player as bright yellow as well as orange, but as soon as they throw down a shadow bomb, they fully turn invisible. You could kind of see when the heartbeat goes up and the player starts to fade back into existence, you can see the outline of their body, but when they're walking around and they're fully invisible, you have no chance to even see them with their thermal scoped AR. Honestly, shadow bombs definitely do have a pretty good chance to return to the game, as well as the thermal scoped AR, so if they ever do, you guys will be one step ahead of the game just knowing this specific myth, because both of those items are pretty good. Going into the next myth. The next myth is, if you wear the TNTina skin and disguise as a henchman, when you use her built-in emote, will the henchman also turn into a cartoon looking character? So if you don't know, TNTina has her own built-in emote where basically, you throw down this grenade and the character itself, just TNTina, the player that you're playing as, will turn into this cartoon looking looking person. It's similar to, if you remember back in like season 10, I believe, the Borderlands, the whole look of that area, that's exactly how your player looks as well. Unfortunately, once you disguise as a henchman and you then try to use her built-in emote, it will still do the same animation. It will still throw down kind of like the grenade or whatever, but the henchman will not turn into a cartoon type of player. I then wanted to see maybe if you disguise as a henchman, use an emote, then you know you lose the henchman disguise if the player underneath will still be kind of looking like the cartoon, but unfortunately that wasn't really the case either. But no need to really stress, because if you really want Tina to look like a cartoon, all what you have to do is just box up, use this emote one more time, and it takes like a good like 2 seconds, so it's not even that bad either way. I went into the next myth. The next myth is, will Midas's decoy weapons automatically become gold? Now I swear, every single video I always pronounce this guy's name wrong, and I always see your guys' comments basically roasting me in the comment section. I say MEOWSCLES wrong, I say MIDAS wrong, I've said it MIDAS, I don't even know, so you guys don't have to leave a comment saying I said it wrong. I do understand. Anyways, next time you are in a game and you're 1v1ing someone who is wearing the MIDAS skin and they throw down the decoy grenades, you will easily be able to tell which one is a real player and which one is the decoys, because the wraps on the weapons surprisingly do not turn into the solid gold touch. I threw down multiple decoys and all of them were holding a shotgun which had the fire wrap, which is, you know, the wrap that I have selected. All of them were, you know, having the exact same wrap on. Even if I threw them down while holding out an AR, they would still hold the shotgun, which really doesn't make sense. So this is definitely good to keep in mind. If you are the MIDAS skin, decoys won't really be that effective. Going into the next myth is, will you lose your disguise if you throw a knocked henchman off a high place and they end up dying or taking damage? Now normally when you're wearing a henchman disguise and you do damage to either another player or another henchman or a henchman boss or whatever, or even just touch them, you will automatically lose your disguise and they'll kind of notice you. What actually shocked me about this myth was when I tested it, I picked up a knocked henchman while I was still wearing the henchman disguise. I went up to a very high place and just threw the henchman off of the ledge, basically sending him to his death, and I even unlocked an achievement. I fully killed the henchman. It said in the kill feed that I killed the henchman, but you know, I didn't lose the disguise. I thought this was pretty interesting and good to know. You never know when it might come in handy. Honestly, I don't think anyone's really ever thrown a henchman to their death, you know, because of a fight. But I guess you guys will always remember this now. Jumping straight into the next myth. The next myth is, what happens when someone harpoons you while you have the no gravity effect from a crash pad? Will it remove the effect? Now I thought this was pretty interesting, and honestly it was pretty difficult to pull off, but after multiple attempts, I can confirm that you do not lose the anti-gravity effect after you harpoon someone when, you know, they're in the air. In this specific scenario, when I harpooned my teammate when they had the no gravity effect, I didn't really notice much of a difference. You know, basically when you have the effect, you'll launch higher up into the air, all of that good stuff. I really didn't see the player, you know, jump any further than he would have, but you know, he still didn't lose the effect until his feet did touch the ground. I guess the main thing to take away from this is, if you harpoon someone after, you know, they jump off of a crash pad, they will actually not take any fall damage because they do maintain that effect. I went into the next myth, and a highly requested myth, one that has been long awaited. This myth is, what happens when Shadow Meows Souls sees Ghost MIDAS? Will they fight? I want to give a massive shout out to Janica, as well as his friends Ant, Max, and Dr. Powell for letting me use this footage. They managed to get Shadow Meows Souls to literally become within a couple of feet from Ghost MIDAS, and surprisingly they both fought each other. Now unfortunately this is really to no surprise, because we've had a Ghost henchman see a Shadow henchman a couple of episodes ago, and this is basically the exact same thing. But I guess it's kind of cool to see, you know, both of the bosses actually fighting each other in one place. Now the way they got the bosses to each other, from my understanding, is they used a fishing rod, and basically they got very lucky on the zone, and I guess they just dropped them into an arena, and both of them fought to the death. In this case, MIDAS actually won the fight against MEOWSCLES, so that just proves right there, Ghost team is stronger than Shadow. Anyways guys, that's gonna wrap it up for today's episode. I hope you have enjoyed. If you have, make sure to leave a like, and also subscribe to the channel if you are new. Turn on those post notifications to never miss another episode of the Fortnite Mythbusters. As well, if you aren't already following me on my social medias, make sure you go follow me on Instagram, Twitter, as well as TikTok. I sometimes post on my TikTok. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you all next time. Peace.